A Chinese Coast Guard ship has rammed a Philippine vessel near Thitu Island in the South China Sea, causing minor structural damage but no injuries. This incident, which occurred on Sunday, has drawn international condemnation of China's actions, which are part of Beijing's ever-escalating use of grey zone tactics to forcibly take territory from its neighbours. According to Philippine officials, 3 Bureau of Fisheries vessels were safely anchored in territorial waters off Thitu Island, protecting local fishermen, when the Chinese Coast Guard began making provocative manoeuvres. The situation escalated at approximately 9:15 a.m. when a Chinese Coast Guard vessel fired its water cannon. 3 minutes later, the Chinese Coast Guard vessel deliberately rammed the stern of the Philippine ship. Aerial footage clearly shows the Chinese ship chasing and then ramming the civilian Philippine boat from behind. Despite this footage, the Chinese side has claimed that the Philippines is to blame, saying the Philippine ship ignored repeated stern warnings from the Chinese side and dangerously approached. These grey zone tactics, the use of intimidation and coercion below the threshold of open conflict, are Beijing's preferred method of asserting control. By forcing neighbouring fishermen out of their own economic zones, China can later build artificial islands or military bases, as it has done before. Because such actions stop short of an outright attack, they allow Beijing to pressure Manila without triggering its mutual defence pact with the United States. Embassies from around the world voiced support for the Philippines. The British Embassy in Manila called for an end to dangerous tactics in the South China Sea and urged respect for international law. The EU said China's dangerous actions further destabilise the South China Sea and called for China to respect the 2016 Hague ruling, which rejected their claims to Philippine territory. Japan, Australia and the US also condemned China's actions, with the Japanese ambassador noting the repeated use of dangerous tactics by the Chinese Coast Guard. But the harassment hasn't stopped, with Beijing continuing its pressure on Philippine vessels and fishermen at both the Scarborough and Sabina Shoals. At Scarborough, observers noted a formidable Chinese presence, including 11 Chinese Coast Guard ships, 11 Chinese maritime militia vessels, a PLA helicopter, and 3 Chinese Navy vessels. According to the Philippine Coast Guard's J. Tariella, similar numbers were seen at Sabina Shoal, with Chinese vessels attempting to disrupt the aid effort. Tariella noted there were documented instances of Chinese Coast Guard vessels activating their water cannon to threaten and intimidate Filipino fishermen. Together, these incidents show Beijing is as determined as ever to dominate the South China Sea and the exclusive economic zones of its neighbours, along with the resources in them. The Philippines for now is holding firm. Admiral Gavin said, "We stand firmly with the President in defending every square inch of our sovereign territory against any foreign power." But as these escalations grow more serious, the risk increases of a tragic miscalculation or an escalation that could draw in the United States and ignite a far wider conflict.